Zach, welcome to BetMGM tonight. And straight away from me, the bulk of the fantasy drafts commence over the next 2 weekends. How about the gaming masses for us? How do you see the Bears running back stable taking shape this season? Do you see DeAndre Swift earning at least, say, 75% of the opportunity share in week one? Will Roschon Johnson have a role? And what about my guy, Kyle Monangai, who I think is a deep sleeper in this backfield who could emerge as the season progresses? So give me your thoughts on the Bears running backs and how it could play out this year.
Yeah, I think DeAndre Swift will get the bulk of the carries. It's kind of trending that way. They tried to add a running back this offseason, with Travion Henderson. He went a pick ahead of what the Bears were selecting. So to me, that told me they wanted to add another back, but they really didn't until Monangai. So I do think Swift will get the majority of the carries. At 75 number seems about right. The one I'm curious about is Roschon Johnson, because last year Roschon was a short yardage guy. He was the goal line guy. He was the guy that was kind of poaching those touchdowns from DeAndre Swift. Now, he's been hurt for about a week and a half. The Bears had a pretty physical live tackling practice, and he came out of that with an injury. We really don't know what's going on with him. He won't play Friday in Kansas City. Hopefully good for week one, so he'll have a role as that short yardage. Now, Monangai, the rookie's been impressive. He's also a little banged up right now, did not play in Sunday's preseason game. Probably won't play Friday night as well. I think he'll have a role, but I think he'll be a little down the line. I think they're going to go with Swift. They're going to go with Roschon, that short yardage. Monangai kind of work his way up that ladder and kind of find those carries here and there. He was a good pass blocker at Rutgers. He made a couple mistakes in the first preseason game and in joint practices. But he went up against Bradley Chubb of the Miami Dolphins, which is no easy task for a running back his size. So I do think Monangai will eventually have a role. Just going to take some time.
Zach, Caleb Williams said the goal this year, become the first Bears quarterback to throw over 4,000 yards, complete 70% of his passes. Do you think these are realistic expectations? I've never seen a second-year quarterback where, there's so much overreaction. There's, a practice where he can't hit the net. He has a little outburst and everybody overreacts. Then there's a really good preseason game, and the next thing you know, he's a top 5 quarterback again. Where do you stand with Caleb Williams now, year one, with Ben Johnson calling plays?
Yeah, the social media stuff is fantastic. It's perfect storm of bad Bears quarterbacks over the years, and Caleb Williams is a lightning rod. So that's what that is. I like what I've seen so far. And when people ask me, how's it been going in camp? What have you seen? There's ups and downs. That's to be expected. It's training camp. It's practice. There's going to be bad moments. There's going to be good moments. I think we fall in love with those highlight throws and practices, which, he's had a couple. He's also had some bad days as well. But I think it's going to be a perfect marriage for him. And I think what we finally saw on Sunday, it was against second and third stringers of the Bills, but it was something we needed to see. We needed, the media needed to see it in a game. Fans needed to see it. And I think it's going to help them build confidence. I think Ben Johnson, with what he wants to do with Caleb Williams, early on, I think they probably lean on the run a little bit, especially against Minnesota and, Detroit, kind of get him in a groove. But I think it's going to be good things. In terms of, those projections and what he wants to reach, I think the 4,000 one is probably more attainable. You look at 70% passing. Last year, I think 5 quarterbacks did that. And Jaden Daniels was pretty close at number 6. So it's not an easy thing to do. I don't think he'll hit that mark. But I think, 4,000 passing yards, high touchdowns, low interceptions would be a great year for him.
And then, I know a lot of people are excited about Colston Loveland, and they look at Sam Laporta's rookie season with Detroit and how Ben Johnson utilized him. I think he's a little bit different of a player, right? You watch him run routes, he looks like a wide receiver, looks like a basketball player. There was the shoulder injury, but he looks fully healthy. What do you think realistic expectations and statistics for him are? Can he be an 800 to 1,000-yard receiver, double-digit touchdown guy year one? Does it take him a little bit of time, especially with Cole Kmet there in the offense as well? What do you think realistic expectations are for Colston Loveland year one with the Bears?
Yeah, I'd have his over-under, 500 receiving yards, I'd say, just because, Colston Loveland's there. Luther Burden's probably going to play a role. Alameda Zacchaeus has been really good in camp. So they have a lot of weapons. I didn't even mention, Roma Odunze or DJ Moore, which is going to factor in as well. I'd say the over under 500 would be good. you look at his touchdowns, I think he's going to be a really good red zone threat. Like I said, he looks like a wide receiver out there. And I'm not going to compare it to Brock Bowers or anything like that because Brock Bowers looks almost generational. But Brock Bowers coming out looked like a wide receiver at times. And I think the Bears are going to try doing the same thing, lining him up in different spots, the slot, in line, lining up on the outside. I think Ben Johnson's going to get real creative with him. And I think we're going to see why they took him at number 10, over another tight end or another wide receiver.
Yeah, guys, certainly makes my heart go pitter-pat as one. Colston, Loveland. I'm a diehard University of Illinois fan. I know we owned Michigan last year, but, man, he tore up the Illini in that game, and you could see the separation, the skill set that he possesses, especially over the middle on some of those seam routes. Could be ultra dangerous in the Windy City this year. We're talking to Zack Pearson, who covers the Bears for the Bear Report, a part of the 247 Sports Network. Give him a follow on X, would you kindly, at Zack_Pearson. Again, on X at Zack_Pearson. Zack, you talked up Rome Odunze. Let's dig in a little bit deeper. The temperature around him this summer has grown hotter and hotter, though we didn't see really much in the last preseason game. We saw a botched opportunity, as a matter of fact, from the arm of Caleb Williams. Who do you believe, post better numbers this year, Odunze or DJ Moore? Right now, Odunze's receiving yards line at BetMGM sits at 850.5. And I'll ask you, over or under?
I'll say over on that. I think him and Caleb Williams will have that connection. Last year, watching them, kind of felt like they weren't on the same page at times. And, even like that game against the Bills you mentioned, it was just kind of a bad throw by Caleb Williams. Rome will tell you he should have caught it, but yeah, it just wasn't in sync. I think, though, DJ Moore is going to have a bigger role than a lot of people think, and here's why. Ben Johnson flat out said it. They want to get him the ball in space. He's really good with the ball after catch. And they've been lining up in the backfield. They've been lining up in the slot on the outside. So I think Moore is going to have a big role as well. In terms of who, would be that top wide receiver, I think down the line will probably be Rome Odunze. But, yeah, I wouldn't rule out DJ Moore having a big year as well.
Yeah, just for comparison's sake, DJ Moore's over-under is 975.5 receiving yards on the season. But Odunze at 850.5, it seems dirt cheap and highly attainable on that over. So we're in agreement there. Zach, we'll get you out of here on this. I saw a season-long yardage prop on Luther Burden set at just 450.5 yards. Are you slam dunking the over on that? And what kind of role should we expect from him starting in week 1? And is it fair to call him a poor man's version of Amon-Ra St. Brown?
He's going to be the one to watch this year because I don't know everything we've seen in the practice, when he gets the ball in his hands, he looks like the real deal. I mean, he looks the part. Last year, if we were doing this show and talk about him in college, there were people saying he's a top 10 pick going into that year in Missouri. Yeah. And obviously we know what happened in Missouri, but he looks like the real deal. Now, I think the only thing that could kind of hold him under that number is what I mentioned earlier. There's one football. They're going to have a lot of weapons. And I mentioned Zacchaeus too. Zacchaeus has been one of Caleb Williams' go-to guys. And I think he'll actually get probably the bulk of the reps in the slot this year, which is where Luther Burden could play. But I'd probably go under just for that, just because I think there's only one football, a lot of weapons. But I think as time goes on, he'll probably develop, and I think he will be the future here in Chicago. I mean, he looks like the real deal. I've been very impressed with him.
Yeah, certainly generated a ton of buzz in Bears training camp, to say the least. Outstanding stuff from Zack Pearson, who covers the Bears. So the Bear Report, a part of the 247 Sports Network. Give him a follow on X at Zack_Pearson. Again, on X at Zack_Pearson. Zack, hope it's going to be a fruitful season there in the city of Chicago. Good luck. Cover the Bears. Have a great one. And please stop by when you get a moment and update us on what you're hearing as the season progresses. Thanks for the time.
For sure. Thank you. I hope the Bears are good. Chicago needs a winner right now.
Good Lord, yes, we do. Desperately need a winner. The Cubs are also killing us. So they won the series against Milwaukee, but a mountain to climb, to say the least, to try to get back in that division race. But let's go ahead and talk Bears. So Zach just threw out that he's on the under with Luther Burden at 450.5. I think that's low-hanging fruit, man. I think he's going to slam dunk the over on that. I'm going to say at a minimum it's 550 receiving yards. He's just so shifty, so crafty, and underneath routes that he has become a safety valve and a guy against some appreciable yak as well off the catch. That was an area that he thrived in at the University of Missouri, which happens to play in some conference you might have heard of, the SEC. So I think Burden will definitely cash the over on 450.5 if he plays even, say, 15 games this season. Are you in alignment there?
I am, man, because like the knock on him in college was he didn't want to get dirty. He didn't want to block to get the rock. But we saw, on that goal line drive, he was blocking a little bit. I think everybody has the opportunity to go over their numbers, right? Especially these short prices, these short numbers. I mean, if Ben Johnson, it's his first draft and he selects Colston, Loveland, Luther Burden, he's going to use them. I mean, look what he did for Jared Goff. Goff had a 46 total QBR the year before Ben Johnson took over. The next year, a 63. And Caleb last year, his QBR was 47, 28th in the NFL, was sacked a league high 68 times. Now he's going to be under center more. They're going to use more play action, more pre-snap motion. So it could be any of these guys any other week, man. Luther Burden, Colston, Loveland. I'm excited to see how he uses all these guys for sure.